You think you've seen rare motorcycles? Good, because this list is about to ruin your definition of rare. We're not talking about limited edition paint jobs or overpriced customs. We're talking about machines that broke records, changed history, and then practically disappeared. Some were too dangerous. Others were too experimental. A few were just too ahead of their time, and the world wasn't ready. Stick around, because the #1 spot isn't just the rarest motorcycle ever built, it's a bike so legendary, most people don't even believe it exists. 15th place, Cyclone Board Track Racer, 1915. In the early 1900s, motorcycle racing wasn't just dangerous, it was practically suicidal. And no bike symbolized that insanity better than the 1915 Cyclone Board Track Racer. Built by the short-lived Jorns Motor Company, this machine was designed for one thing: raw speed. No brakes, no clutch, just a 996 cubic centimeter V-twin pushing out 45 horsepower at a time when most bikes barely cracked 10. That power sent riders flying around steep wooden tracks at over 100 miles per hour, wearing nothing but leather helmets and pure guts. Here's why the Cyclone is on this list. Almost none survived. In fact, only about a dozen are known to exist today, and most are locked away in private collections or museums. One example sold at auction for $852,000, making it one of the most expensive vintage motorcycles ever sold. This isn't just rare. It's a ghost from a time when racing was life or death. 14th place, Munch Mammut 2000. You've heard of leader bikes, you've heard of big twins. But how about a motorcycle with a 2000cc engine? That's the Munch Mammut 2000, the world's first production motorcycle to cross the 2-liter barrier. Built in Germany by Friedel Munch, this monster was hand-assembled between 2000 and 2002. Only 15 units were ever made, and each one was custom-built for the buyer. The Mammut wasn't just about size, it was about breaking rules. It used a turbocharged inline-4 engine borrowed from the Opel Omega, delivering over 260 horsepower to the rear wheel. For perspective, that's almost the same power-to-weight ratio as a Formula One car. Weighing nearly 700 pounds, the Mammut was part motorcycle, part rocket ship, part garage art. It cost over $86,000 at launch, which was outrageous for the time. But today, finding one for sale is nearly impossible. Most are stashed in private collections, never to see public roads again. The Mammut is the forgotten king of the oversized motorcycle era. 13th place, Harley-Davidson EL Knucklehead, 1936. The 1936 Harley-Davidson EL isn't just rare, it's a milestone in motorcycle history. This was the first Harley to feature the now legendary Knucklehead engine, and it completely changed the game. Before the EL, motorcycles were loud, leaky, and primitive. The Knucklehead brought overhead valves, better lubrication, and real horsepower to the American V-twin. Its 61 cubic inch engine, about 1,000 cubic centimeters, produced a then impressive 40 horsepower, which made it one of the fastest production bikes of its time. Here's the kicker: Harley-Davidson was in financial trouble in the 1930s, so they didn't build that many ELs to begin with. And out of the few thousand that were made, almost none survived in original condition. Restored EL Knuckleheads have sold for over $200,000, but finding one that's untouched? That's practically impossible. The 1936 Knucklehead isn't just a rare bike, it's the machine that saved Harley-Davidson from bankruptcy. 12th place, Honda NR750, 1992. Sometimes being rare isn't about limited production, it's about doing something no one else would even try. That's the Honda NR750. Built in 1992, the NR750 was Honda's moonshot. They wanted to see if they could make a 4-stroke engine compete with 2 strokes in Grand Prix racing. The solution? Oval pistons. Not round, oval. Each piston had 2 connecting rods and 8 valves per cylinder, making this technically a V8 disguised as a V4. Only 300 units were ever made, and each one cost about $60,000 at launch, which was more than a Ferrari engine swap at the time. It wasn't the fastest bike on the road, but it was the most advanced. Carbon fiber fairings, digital dashboard, a futuristic design that still turns heads today. The NR750 is collectible not because of what it did on the track, but because of what it represents: Honda's willingness to burn cash just to prove they could bend the laws of physics. 11th place, Ducati Desmosedici RR, 2007. In 2007, Ducati did something no other manufacturer had the guts to do. They sold a MotoGP bike to the public. The Ducati Desmosedici RR wasn't a replica. It wasn't inspired by the race bike. It was the race bike, slightly detuned so regular people with lots of money could actually buy one. Only 1,500 units were made. The price tag? $72,500. And for that, you got a 989 cubic centimeter V4, producing 200 horsepower, wrapped in carbon fiber bodywork and dripping with MotoGP tech. This bike wasn't just fast, it was terrifying. It had no rider aids, no traction control, and a top speed of over 190 miles per hour. Owners said the Desmosedici RR felt like riding a wild animal. It was beautiful, brutal, and insanely rare. Most are locked away in pristine condition, but the few that still roam the streets, those are the real legends. Curveball rehook before number 10. Now, you might think we've already hit the peak of rarity, but no. What's coming next makes million-dollar Harleys and experimental superbikes look like dealership specials. 10th place, Neiman Marcus Limited Edition Fighter. What happens when a luxury department store decides to sell a motorcycle? You get the Neiman Marcus Limited Edition Fighter, a machine that looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, not a garage. Only 45 units were ever made. The price? A ridiculous $110,000 at launch. But one of them was later listed for $11 million at auction. Whether it sold for that much is up for debate, but the legend stuck. The Fighter is built from solid billet aluminum. No plastic, no fairings, just exposed bolts, raw metal, and an industrial design that makes it look like an alien weapon. It's powered by a 120 cubic inch V-twin, roughly 2,000 cubic centimeters, pushing out 190 horsepower. That's a lot of muscle for something this minimalist. Here's the crazy part. It's street legal. Despite looking like a prototype from a cyberpunk dystopia, you can actually register it and ride it. This bike isn't about speed, it's about making a statement. 9th place, Ecos ES One Spirit. The Ecos ES One Spirit is so radical, most riders wouldn't even know how to get on it, literally. Before you can buy one, you have to take a mandatory training course with the engineers who built it. Only 10 units exist worldwide, and each costs about $3.6 million. This isn't just a superbike, it's a complete redesign of what a motorcycle is. The ES One Spirit was built using Formula One and aerospace technology. The frame? There isn't one. The engine and suspension are part of the bike's structure, eliminating the need for a traditional chassis. This reduces weight and increases rigidity beyond anything you've ever ridden. The whole bike weighs just 265 pounds, but it's powered by a 1000cc V4 that delivers mind-bending speed. Even the handlebars are directly connected to the front suspension, giving it handling that feels more like a jet fighter than a motorcycle. This isn't for your average track day hero, it's for billionaires who treat adrenaline like fine wine. 8th place, Harley-Davidson Cosmic Starship. Ever seen a motorcycle that's technically a piece of fine art? Meet the Harley-Davidson Cosmic Starship. This isn't your average Harley, it's a V-Rod, customized and painted by famous artist Jack Armstrong using fluorescent cosmic textures. Think of it as a rolling painting with an engine. The price? An eye-watering $3 million, making it one of the most expensive Harleys ever sold. Mechanically, it's still a 1,250cc V-twin, but that's not why people pay millions for it. The Cosmic Starship lives in a weird space between motorcycle culture and the high-end art world. It's not about horsepower, it's about being the first motorcycle painted in Armstrong's cosmic extensionalism style, turning biker rebellion into gallery-worthy art. It's weird, it's controversial, and it's one of a kind. 7th place, Confederate B-120 Wraith. The Confederate B-120 Wraith looks like it came from another dimension. Only 250 units were made, and each one is a masterclass in industrial design and raw engineering. Forget fairings. The Wraith is built around a carbon fiber backbone chassis that wraps the air intake right through the frame. Its 1,966 cubic centimeter V-twin makes about 125 horsepower, but that's not the point. This bike isn't about speed, it's about attitude and design. Everything is exposed. The suspension is a double wishbone front fork setup. The swing arm looks like something from a fighter jet. Even the wheels are carbon fiber. The Wraith isn't just a motorcycle, It's a rolling work of industrial art, and it's nearly impossible to find one for sale today. Sesto posto. Moto Guzzi v Auto Cilindri. In the 1950s, Moto Guzzi did something no one else dared to do. They built an 8-cylinder Grand Prix motorcycle. The Moto Guzzi Auto Cilindri, which literally means 8 cylinders, was a 500cc race bike that looked and sounded like nothing else on the grid. Imagine a motorcycle engine the size of a small toaster with 8 tiny pistons screaming at 12,000 RPM. It made about 78 horsepower, which was insane for the time. Only a handful of these bikes were ever built, and even fewer survive today. It was too advanced for its own good, fragile, difficult to tune, and decades ahead of racing technology. Still, the Auto Cilindri remains one of the most legendary race bikes ever made. If you ever see one in a museum, consider yourself lucky. It's like spotting a unicorn. You probably think we've already hit the peak of rare motorcycles, but what's coming next? It makes the rest of the list look common. 5th place, Dodge Tomahawk. Imagine walking into a Dodge showroom in 2003 and seeing a motorcycle powered by a Viper V10 engine. That's the Dodge Tomahawk, a machine so absurd, it broke the definition of what a motorcycle even is. It uses an 8.3-liter V10, pushing 500 horsepower, and weighs over 1,500 pounds. Technically, it has 4 wheels, but Dodge called it a bike anyway. Theoretically, the Tomahawk could reach 350 miles per hour, but no one's ever tested that claim, and probably never will. Dodge sold 9 units to collectors for about $550,000 each. None of them are street legal. These were garage queens from day one, usually displayed next to Vipers or Bugattis. This isn't a motorcycle you ride, it's one you stare at and wonder, what were they thinking? 4th place, Vincent Black Shadow, 1950s. Before the term superbike existed, there was the Vincent Black Shadow. In the 1950s, this was the fastest production motorcycle in the world, 125 miles per hour straight from the factory. That may not sound wild today, but back then it was borderline illegal just for existing. The Black Shadow ran a 998 cubic centimeter V-twin with that signature glossy black engine casing. Celebrities, racers, and outlaws all wanted one. Hunter S. Thompson once called it pure hell on wheels. Only a few thousand were built, but finding one today in original condition is next to impossible. Auction prices easily top $300,000, but the real value is in the legend. Think you've heard of the rarest bikes in history? Think again. Coming up next is a motorcycle so exclusive, even most collectors don't know it exists. 3rd place, AJS Porcupine E95. The AJS Porcupine E95 is like the holy grail of motorcycle racing history. Only 4 of these bikes were ever built, and one of them won the first ever FIM 500cc World Championship in 1949. It had a 500cc parallel twin engine, unique horizontal cylinder heads for better cooling, and a radical design that was decades ahead of its time. It earned the nickname Porcupine because of the spiky cooling fins that made it look like a rolling weapon. When one finally surfaced at auction, it fetched over $750,000, and that was years ago. This is the rarest Grand Prix winning motorcycle of all time. No contest. 2nd place, Husqvarna 400, Cross Steve McQueen edition. Sometimes rarity isn't just about production numbers, it's about who owned the bike. In this case, we're talking about the Husqvarna 400 Cross made famous by Steve McQueen. He wasn't just Hollywood's king of cool, he was also one of the most skilled off-road riders of his era. McQueen's personal Husky 400 was featured in On Any Sunday, the film that launched motocross into the mainstream. That specific bike sold at auction for over $230,000. The McQueen Husqvarnas aren't just rare, they're cultural relics. Only a handful exist and their value keeps skyrocketing. Alright, here it is, the rarest motorcycle ever made. Forget limited editions, forget celebrity ownership. This next bike is so impossible to find, it's almost become a rumor. 1st place, Brough Superior Golden Dream. Everyone knows the Brough Superior SS 100, but almost no one knows about the Brough Superior Golden Dream, the rarest Brough ever built. Only 4 prototypes were ever made in the late 1930s. It featured a bizarre flat-4 engine mounted longitudinally with counter-rotating crankshafts to cancel out vibration. Think of it as a luxury motorcycle with the soul of an engineering experiment. Then World War II started, and the project was cancelled. Production never resumed, and most of the prototypes disappeared. Today, only one known example remains in original condition, and it's locked away in a museum. Private ownership? Forget it. The Golden Dream isn't just rare, it's basically extinct. So there you have it, the rarest motorcycles ever built. Some were too dangerous to survive, others were too experimental to succeed, and a few? They became legends simply because they vanished. Now do us a favor. Send this video to the one person you know who thinks they've seen it all. Let's see if they can name all 15.